All right,
All
welcome
right.
back to an episode of Two Fans, 12 Rings. Jeff here. Brad, what's going on, dude?
You know, it's always fun when football season is getting back into the swing of things. The podcast picks up, fantasy football starts picking up, everything starts going. The whole world just seems right when football's on. And it is July 23rd. The Hall of Fame game is August 1st. Like, we're already going to be having preseason games in like 8 days. So it's so fun right now. It's full optimism. Probably 28 teams feel that they can win the Super Bowl, and their fan bases. There's always some that probably won't think, and maybe we'll talk about some of them today.
Man, that was somehow a dig.
No.
Yeah, Neil, it's been a couple weeks since we potted. We wanted to have this on last week. Actually, it might have been 2 weeks ago. I've had computer issues. I'm actually going on my phone right now, so we're just going to make this do. Lots of things, though. I think how we get these pods out over the next couple of weeks may look a little different. We're trying a different structure this year for the first time. We're not doing division breakdowns. We're doing 4 teams at a time from worst to best, kind of building up to that Super Bowl run, if you will. And I'm just excited to talk about every team. It is crazy how these 4 teams we're going to talk about in this episode right here, there's lots of interesting storylines moving here, a lot of new quarterbacks and just storylines and great players added to these teams. There's nothing better than this time of year where we make our predictions.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we'll just go ahead and kick it off with we're doing, like Jeff said, 4 teams at a time, theoretically from worst to best based off last year's standings. And I know that the Bears had the first pick in the draft, but we will wait till episode 3 to tackle them. We're going to start with the Carolina Panthers. We'll keep it in the first 4 rounds of the draft. So wide receiver Xavier Leggett, running back Jonathan Brooks, linebacker Trevin, that's Kevin with a T, Trevin Wallace, and Jatavion Sanders, tight end from Texas. Moving to all additional ads, Deontay Johnson, receiver from Steelers, 2 guards, Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, They got Jadeveon Clowney at the linebacker spot, Josie Jewell at the linebacker spot, Jordan Fuller at the safety. Some of their losses, big-time losses here. They lose Frankie Louvu, their leading tackler, linebacker, and Brian Burns, dominant edge rusher. Doesn't get a lot of talk because the Panthers haven't really been that great, but if you know, you know. They lose corner Dante Jackson, safety Von Bell, safety Jeremy Chin, and tight end Hayden Hurst. Also corner CJ Henderson. So 2 corners, 2 safeties, linebackers. Yater, Gross Matos. They lose quite a bit. They're revamping towards the offense now with new head coach Dave Canales, I believe his name is, former OC from the Bucs. So, what are your initial thoughts on what the Panthers were last year? What maybe you think they can be this year?
Well, you touched on this briefly, but obviously they were the worst team in football. They didn't get the number 1 pick because of it. They traded a year prior for Bryce Young. So that was their number 1 pick that they traded up for. In return, they gave the number 1 pick to the Bears for Caleb Williams. They were only a 2-win football team last year, and one of them was against a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. I honest to God don't remember who the second win was against. This was a bad football team, pretty much in every way, shape, or form. The crazy thing is there's so many players that are we've been talking about the Panthers now what seems like for years because they had so much talent and they lost a lot of talent. Those names, I'm looking for impacts to be made other places now.
Yeah, their other win, I believe it was the game where ticket prices were like $2, and they beat the Falcons 9-7.
Wow.
Bryce Young had 167 passing yards.
Yeah. Well, before we go into like where this team's projected to be, we can kind of take a second and talk about what we think this team is. This team's interesting because I think they're going to be once again the worst team in football. A lot of people have New England as that. I think it's still the Panthers. I think they will go a second straight year of being the worst team, getting the number 1 pick again. And at that point, they may have to then reassess the quarterback position because I don't think they have the guy. Not because they passed on C.J. Stroud and C.J. Stroud turned out to be a dog. Not because they passed on Anthony Richardson. He turned out to be a dog. Mostly because they drafted Bryce Young and he sucks. And I don't know how to be nice about that. I just don't believe in him. I don't believe in their team. I do think that they've done some things well over the last 3 years that don't get a lot of love because their team's been so bad. But people forget, 2 years ago, they moved up to the number 1 pick. They did not have the number 1 pick. They won 8 games. This was an 8-win football team that added the number 1 pick in the draft. And what did they do? They won 2. They got substantially worse. Why is that? It's not hard. They got really bad at quarterback.
Yeah. I appreciate their effort to bring in an offensive head coach. They had
one.
Well, I know, but I mean, a quarterback friendly guy, it seems like they brought in offensive guys who kind of, I don't know, it seems like they want to run it their way. I think Dave Canales is a guy who is going to try and adapt to what the quarterback likes to do best. I think we'll talk about him as a loss for the Buccaneers when we get to them. But I like that they added one of the better guards from the Miami Dolphins. I like that they got Adam Thielen had a tremendous year last year. Now he's got Xavier Leggett from South Carolina and Deontay Johnson. They got Tremble at tight end. They also have now Jatavion Sanders. Their running back room, Rashad Penny, Jonathan Brooks, Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard.
That is the strength of the team.
Yeah, and I just think this team, even if it might be a blessing in disguise if Bryce Young goes down and Andy Dalton takes over this team, we might be cooking because I believe I've said it from day one. I think Jeff was a little more hesitant at first, but has come around quickly. We are both out on Bryce Young. We just don't think that he can play. And to their credit, the Carolina Panthers could triple their wins and go 6-11 and still have a top 10 pick. I don't see much turnaround. I'm leaving it to just now because I want a little bit of a surprise, but a fourth place team in the NFC, maybe their schedule could be favorable. I'm just taking a quick peek and we'll get to it in a minute, but this thing, it's unbelievably hard. I just twice I've checked to make sure I'm still on the Carolina Panthers with how difficult I believe this schedule to be, especially the second half. I can't wait to get your opinions. Do you have anything left before we go into predicting the schedule?
I feel like I've said what I needed to say on them. I will say this. You couldn't name another team in the league, not one single team, that if they won 10 games, I'd be like, wow, unreal. This one I would. I would be flabbergasted. Every other team, I think there's a case to be made somewhere, somehow. This one would truly shock me. I think they are the worst team in the league. I don't think they improved a ton. They did bare minimum stuff. It's hard to improve when you're the number. You won 2 games. You didn't have your own first round pick. They did have one later that they acquired.
Xavier Leggett. Well, they had the first pick in the second round, and they traded up with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills went back to 30.
Was that the McCaffrey trade? Is that how they had that? Or, they just moved in because of their own pick?
Yeah, they just moved in with the Bills. Trade picks on the back end. Bills still got Keon Coleman, so they would have to keep it. All right, week 1, Sunday, September 8th. We are just a quick look as well. Their only primetime game, even though it probably won't count as a primetime game, is when they play overseas in London. I think it's the Germany game. Yes, I think that is the Germany game. But week 1, they start out at the New Orleans Saints.
Loss.
I agree. I'll keep that over there. They then they have their home opener against Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
That's fun. Loss.
They then go back on the road to the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, this is fun because I'm not super high in the Raiders, but Bryce Young is small, and Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins are on the defensive line of the Raiders. I think that they just I think they overwhelm them a little bit.
Yeah, where's this game at?
It's at Las Vegas.
Loss.
They come home to play the Cincinnati Bengals.
Loss.
Again, there's a pattern here. Home away, home away, home away. They're now at the Chicago Bears. The back-to-back number 1 picks. Bryce Young takes on Caleb Williams.
Yeah, this is fun for them. I did call this out on a pod last year that I thought the Panthers would win their first game against the Texans strictly because of how CJ had played, and I thought they would play their best football. I do wonder if that's the case here. I would have maybe considered it if it was in Carolina. It's in Chicago. I think it's a 5th straight loss.
I think with the weapons Chicago has, it's just a total mismatch against this defense. I just think it's too much. They're then back home. They play the Atlanta Falcons.
I know divisional games are weird. I know they beat them last year. This Falcon team's improved. I can't. It's a loss.
It's simply because I can't make teams winless, and I'm not going to go back and forth to make sure I've predicted every team 100% appropriate. But I'm going to give them a win at home versus the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons are much better, and when we do the Falcons, I'll probably give them a win here against the Panthers. I'm not going to try and make it perfect, but they've got to get a win somewhere. They then go on the road to the Washington Commanders. Again, we are now into week 7, and it is away, home, away, home, away, home, back and forth.
This is a nice spot for them. They're not going very far. It is an away game, but it's a short little trip to a team that is pretty vulnerable with a rookie quarterback. I'm going to give them the win here.
I'm giving them a loss. Back-to-back road spot. They go across the country to play the Denver Broncos. This is October 27th. Not too cold yet. It's probably going to be a nice weather game up in the altitude against a weak Denver team.
Yeah, I'm not high on Denver at all.
I'm giving the Panthers their second win here.
You don't have to talk me into it. They're going to have a weird 2-game win streak, but I'll give them win 2.
If you do it in bunches, I'm okay with them being 2-6 through 8 games.
Yeah.
The next week they're back home. They play the New Orleans Saints.
Can't win 3 in a row.
I like the Saints to sweep them, so I'm giving them a loss.
They're not good enough to win 3 in a row. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to give them the win here, but I'm taking the Commanders win away.
So she's still got them 2-7?
Yeah.
Okay, it says it's a home game, but it's in Germany versus the New York Giants. We give the German fan base Panthers Giants on November 10th.
We basically say, how much do you like football? Prove it.
I'll be there.
Loss.
I'll be there. I think it's a loss as well. They then go into their bye week, week 11. We have them 2-8. Now, this next 4-game stretch, I'm just going to give it to you straight out quick. Home against the Chiefs, home against the Bucks, at the Eagles, home against the Cowboys.
They're not winning any of those. That's tough, though. That's a tough 4-gamer.
After losing home to the Cowboys, they're home again in December 22nd. They host the Arizona Cardinals. Now, at this point, we're talking, hey, Panthers, do you want your first-round pick? Because Quinn Ewers might be better than Bryce Young or Dylan Gabriel or Jake. You're having to lose to the Cardinals? I'm going to give them a win to the Cardinals.
You're insane.
Well, I'm going to give them 3 wins on the season. It might not be the Cardinals, but 3. They then finish at Tampa and at the Falcons. I have that as loss.
Okay. I have them as 2-15 in back-to-back seasons. I'm gonna get. You haven't told me. I want to guess they're over under.
Okay. By the way, everyone, I have division over under to make and miss playoffs and Super Bowl for all the teams that we should be covering.
I'm between 3.5 and 4.5. I'm gonna go 3.5.
It is 5.5. Now, I can make a list for you as well, but in my notebook here, my last 3 pages are dedicated to futures bets I may want to place before the season starts. I am going to go Panthers under 5.5 on this list.
Yes, that is a smash under.
They can double their win total and then win an extra game. And against they play the NFC East, the AFC East. They match up with the Bears. They match up with the Cardinals.
They don't play the AFC East
or West. Excuse me. I'm sorry. AFC West. My fault.
You're good.
Thanks for correcting me. That's tough.
Any more on the Panthers?
Just real quick, I'll run through it. They have the longest odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 30,000. Miss playoffs minus 750, make plus 490, and their division is plus 1,000.
You can bet them to miss the playoffs, but you have to pay $750 to win 100.
$75 to win 10. Same thing. I'm not correcting you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want to put down $7,500 to win $1,000?
7,500 to win 1,000. Panthers aren't making the playoffs.
No, it's free money.
But you got to remember, what if Kurt gets hurt and Baker can't play without his OC left? Like the division is not a strong division.
Correct. That's what's so weird about it.
All bounce is a little weird.
Suck and make the playoffs.
All bounce is weird. They somehow crush expectations and get to 8 wins and make the playoffs. I mean,
oh my gosh.
They're not making the playoffs, but those are your odds. Do with them what you will.
Okay. Washington, are we ready?
I'm just got to move a few things around on this page, and then I should be.
Washington was 4-13 last year, earning them the number 2 pick in the draft. They decided to keep it. Lots of rumors that Marvin would be the pick, but after a very stellar season at LSU, the Heisman Trophy winning Jaden Daniels drafted number 2 overall. A lot of hype on him. They fire Ron Rivera, and they hire Dan Quinn. Okay. And what do they do as an offensive coordinator? They go out and get Cliff Kingsbury, the quarterback whisperer. Go ahead and take it away on Washington, the Commanders.
Yeah, I said I'd keep it in the first 4 rounds of the draft, but this team, I believe, led all teams in picks in the first 4 rounds. They take Jaden Daniels, like you said. They take a top Big Ten D tackle in Jerzon Newton. They take Mike Sanderstill, one of the best slot corners in college football, big locker room guy. Tight end Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. They take a guard from TCU. And late in the 3rd round, they take Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver from Rice. I mean, simply just the family name worth a shot. Some of their biggest additions. At center, they got Tyler Biadasz. I forget his name, how to pronounce that name, but he's from the Cowboys, tremendous center. And Nick Allegretti, a guard. Their tackles are a little bit suspect, but their interior 3 are tremendous. We just talked about the leading tackler for the Panthers, Frankie Louvu, leaving. He joins the Washington Commanders alongside Bobby Wagner as their 2 new middle linebackers. So again, Jerzon Newton, Mike Sanderstill, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu added to what was a strength as their defensive line. So they lost some pieces, but they added a lot there. Marcus Mariota to the quarterback room, Austin Eckler as a running back, Jeremy Chin at safety. Losses. Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell are out of the quarterback room. Antonio Gibson is out, but Austin Eckler's in. They lose Curtis Samuel, a wide receiver, and Kendall Fuller, a corner. So few losses, but overall, I think this team got tremendously better. What say you?
when I was talking about this this pod, I want to keep saying division. These four teams, this team I had circled as kind of like the most interesting because they're going to lose games this year that you probably are going to look back and be like, wow, they really should have won that game. They're probably the better football team. But they do have a rookie quarterback. They do have kind of like a less than youthful wide receiver room, if that makes sense, if that's a fair statement. Obviously, Terry McLaurin, but he's kind of a veteran. They kind of lack deep speed. It'll be interesting to kind of see what pieces are utilized there. Austin Eckler, as great as he has been in a touchdown machine, kind of a down year last year after basically holding out, demanding a contract extension, which they did not give him. And then he goes to Washington, and you just wonder if that's how he's going to be utilized. I think a fantasy player like him who's been so good for so long, it's just nothing but question marks. As far as the defense, chalk it up now. This is top 5. A, Dan Quinn. B, those players. I've seen enough. Top 5 defense. It will be an absolute dog defensively. But where's the offense going to be? How does it play out? How does the offense look? Is it going to be quarterback run style? Like, what are we talking here? I don't really know what Jaden Daniels is. He's probably the week 1 starter. They got everybody else out of town. They cleared the room. Sam Howell could have easily started this season. That's not how they went.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is going to be tremendous. I think what he could do with his legs and his arm. I think Austin Eckler, I believe he's being reunited with a former running back coach who was with him the year that he led the league in touchdowns with the Chargers. Or Anthony Lynn. It was the head coach. I believe he's on the offensive staff now. And I think they know how to utilize him. Brian Robinson Jr. as a 1-2 punch. I mean, he's a really good back. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. We'll see what they do with that third wide receiver. Luke McCaffrey, Jamison Crowder, Zach Ertz, and a rookie tight end. I think their offense is going to be a work in progress, but having Cliff Kingsbury running this offense with a mobile quarterback with what he was able to do with Kyler, I think the offense is going to be really good. And you talked about the defense. I talk about the defense. You remember Cleveland Farrell from Clemson. We talked about Jerzon Newton, Dante Fowler Jr., Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner. These are all guys in their front 7. That's tremendous. And then you've got additions like Jeremy Chin. The secondary is a little bit suspect, but Dan Quinn has always been able to do pretty well with defenses in that department, disguise, cover up, make them play better. I just think this is a team that I really like to make the playoffs, whether it's a wild card or if they can pull off some craziness inside the division. I really like the Washington Commanders. I'll have to see how their schedule plays out, but head coach, OC, additions, but again, it's going to come down to a rookie quarterback, which it's always interesting, man. You don't know how they're going to play. Marcus Mariota is the backup. They're another guy that they brought in.
Yeah. Jaden didn't struggle with injuries, right?
Huh?
Has Jaden struggled with injuries in college?
No,
He never had any kind of injuries?
I don't think he had any like serious long-term injuries unless they were at Arizona State before LSU. I don't think. I could be wrong. I can look that up quick.
The one thing I am worried about is he couldn't have been drafted to a worse place to play as far as injuries go. Like, Washington is literally where you go to get injured. They're known for it. Their field's known for it. It's ruined multiple careers. I just worry there. I know it's kind of like coming out of left field and it's being very tin hat, but I don't know.
It looks like in 2022 he had a high ankle sprain, and in 2023 he left one game with a grade 1 concussion.
So not bad.
So 2 injuries in 2 years. I don't think he missed real time with either.
Yeah. This is a team that has a legit threat to win the NFC East if Jaden Daniels is a really good player. If he's an average player, they'll be an average team. Not terribly bad, not terribly good. And if he's a bad player, I think they'll be a below average team, but they are not going to be horrendous. I think their defense is going to be really good.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and we'll take it to the schedule prediction here.
Take it away.
Okay, week 1, they're at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Rookie quarterbacks on the road in week 1 do not win. This is Bucs.
I agree. Week 2, home opener against the New York Giants. Rookie quarterback against a stout front 7. That'll be interesting to see.
I like Washington here.
I talked about how the Commanders, they might have issues at tackle. You have Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. I think this is a tricky spot. I don't love what New York's doing with their offense, so it's always going to be hard to give them wins. I think the Commander. I don't know. Give me 1 second.
I got them 1-1 here.
I'm going to give them a win as well. I know people are like, Brad, you just said that you think they can make the playoffs, but you're struggling to give them a win against the Giants. It's just a matchup thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Week 3, they're at the Bengals.
This is a loss for them.
I think so too. Week 3, they're at Arizona. I think it's a win.
I think this is a loss for them.
Okay.
I think I really like what Arizona could potentially be this year.
Week 5, home against the Browns.
And don't think I don't know. It's Kyler Murray against his boy Cliff Kingsbury.
For sure. That'd be a fun game. That'll be a fun 4:05 game on Fox.
It would, which is probably when it's going to be.
Wait, it's 4:05 on Fox. I see it right now. Actually, that game against the Bengals, I missed this. Sorry about that. That's the Monday night game.
Oh, great.
Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow.
LSU Heisman wins. You know, I'll tell you what, schedule makers,
they're out here.
Don't ever change.
They're working.
They working.
Week 5, home against the Browns.
Man, I liked them this year.
I like the Commanders to beat the Browns here, actually.
I don't. This is a loss.
Well, that's good for you because
rookie quarterback's just kind of struggling here, but I do like them.
It's all right. They'll bounce back week 6 at the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens are winning this game.
Yeah, I know. It's just you're just going to keep piling losses onto these Commanders. All right, here you go. After the Ravens, they've got a back-to-back home spot. Carolina, Chicago.
Remember, I initially gave them a loss to Carolina. I'm so glad I changed that because they are winning that. And in the battle of the top 2 picks, give me Carolina, not Carolina. Give me Washington to dial up a good blitz against Caleb.
Caleb wins. Bears win. I got them at 4-4 through 8. Where you got them?
3-5.
All right. Week 9, they're at the New York Giants.
Another win.
I think so too. Week 10, they host the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like our defense versus a rookie. Although by week 10, you could argue he's not 100% a rookie yet, but he's now faced Cleveland's defense, Baltimore's defense, Chicago's defense, New York defense, and now the Steelers in a 6 or 7 week stretch.
I do think that this is more of a Steeler type win. I'm giving them a loss here.
I got them 5-5. Okay, after playing the Steelers defense, they're on a short week Thursday night at Philadelphia.
They've played Philadelphia really well these last couple of years in Philadelphia. I'm still not sure what to make of them. I'm giving them a win here at Philadelphia.
I have them losing. I think Sam Howell for some reason just played well against Philly. I don't know if it was I think it's him specifically. They get a long week. They're back home versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Dan Quinn against the boys.
I like a win here.
Give me a W.
They followed up with another
Real
home
quick,
game.
I have them 5-1 in their last 6. They're moving now.
I have them then. So after Dallas, they're home again versus the Titans.
Titans are interesting because they're home. I'm giving Washington a win. 2 3-game win streaks separated by a loss.
They go into the bye week 14. I have them at 7-6.
I have them at 7-6.
Okay. After the bye, this is juicy. They have a real shot to make the playoffs now coming out of the bye. Full team. They know who they are. Come out of the bye at the New Orleans Saints.
Very winnable game, and it's just a trap because
Jaden Daniels goes home. Jaden Daniels goes home to LSU. He's got fans in the building.
Man, that's tough. I'm going to assume at this point the Saints are kind of garbage and Washington's able to scrape one out, that maybe the fans are just pulling for Jaden rather than a playoff push. I'm going Washington.
I am too. They go back home and face the Eagles. I have the Eagles winning again.
Yeah, this is a loss. I actually had them beating the Eagles. I have them losing here.
They then stay at home and they play the Falcons. I think that's a win.
I'm going to give them a loss here. I just think in this spot, do or die season, I'm taking the veteran quarterback and Kirk Cousins against the former team in Washington. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I was saying they're losing to the Cowboys week 18.
I was saying more or less, is the Achilles going to hold up? Not is he benched for Penix. That's not what I was saying.
I knew that's what you meant. I did not even think you saw it benching.
Then, yeah, at Dallas, I have a loss. I have them 9-8, which I don't hate.
Yeah, I have them 8-9. We basically disagreed on the Falcons game late. I just think after winning essentially going 7-1 in 8-game stretch, including their bye, they will cool off in December against really good football teams. And that's no harm for a rookie quarterback.
Not at all.
I'm going to guess their over-under win total. It feels like 8.5. I feel like I'm right on the left side of it.
I hate to just keep adding stuff to what I want to bet on for future bets, but these goons over at FanDuel have it at 6.5.
I think they're way better than 6.5.
Yeah, I do too. I honestly want to go check on my phone quick to make sure I got that right. That just seems bizarrely low for kind of how we just broke it down. Like, I don't know how they're getting that.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
Unless, I mean, you guys listening, maybe you're fans of a team in the NFC East. Maybe you just don't believe in Jaden Daniels. Maybe you think we're crazy. But when you break down this team, I don't think this team's going to look really anything like they did last season. I think they're going to be much better. Washington Commanders over under 6.5 wins.
I mean, if this team won 7 games, I wouldn't be shocked. But if they won 6, it does feel low to me.
Well, if you went to they don't let you jump too far, like just a little bit up. So you could go alt win total to over 7.5, meaning they get 8 or more, and that's plus 156.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Good odds.
Oh.
Anything more on Washington?
No, I think we covered everything we could for Washington.
I think so too. It's time to talk about the best franchise in all of sports. It is the 6-time Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. One half of the 2 Fan 12 Rings podcast.
Surprised we're talking about them so early. They're struggling right now. It's okay.
It's Tough days. So lots to discuss here. They went 4-13 last year. Not great. It was by far the lowest winning season under Bill Belichick with New England. And unfortunately, because of it, they decided to let go of Bill Belichick, mutually part ways, if you will, and you read the headlines. And then they bring in longtime New England Patriot, multiple-time captain, multiple-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, linebacker Gerard Mayo comes over to be the head coach. He was the defensive coordinator. He also had it in his contract that he was basically a head coach in waiting. They didn't even have to conduct an interview process because of that being in his contract. They were just able to hire him. So they have a lot of faith in him. There's things to like. With that being said, lots of change. Obviously, Mac Jones is out. Bill Belichick's out. If you were a Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots in 2018, I'm going on a stab here. There's like 3 that I can think of that are still on this team. It's getting slim pickings. So I'll let you take away the adds and losses.
In the draft, 3rd pick, they take big old Drake May from North Carolina. They add wide receivers Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. They get a tackle and a guard, Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson. And I think it's worth mentioning in the 6th round, they grabbed Joe Milton. A lot of people around here are familiar with his work in college.
Real quick, so you said they drafted Jalen Polk out of Washington. There also is another receiver that they got later.
Javon Baker. I said him too.
Oh, did you?
Yep, I said wide receivers Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. Javon Baker's a lightning rod. He was a punt returner, juice box, shorter, quick, twitchy wide receiver. And you guys still have Kendrick Bourne, I do believe, right?
Kendrick Bourne and Demario Douglas. Yep.
Yep. So there's talent in that wide receiver room. Biggest additions, Jacoby Brissett, likely to be the starting quarterback at the beginning in front of Drake May. Antonio Gibson, another running back to help Ramondre Stevenson. KJ Osborne, receiver from the Vikings. Austin Hooper, tight end. And journeyman tackle Chukwuma Okorafor, formerly of the Steelers. They lose Mac Jones, Zeke Elliott, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Trent Brown. First 4 names sounded a lot different 3 years ago. Mac Jones, Zeke Elliott, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Trent Brown, Lawrence Guy, linebacker Mac Wilson, slot corner Jalen Mills, J.C. Jackson, and special teamer Matthew Slater retires after a glorious career. Should be a Hall of Famer, one of the best special teamers of all time, in my opinion. But I'll let you take it away and start on your New England Patriots.
Yeah, I just think that this is a complete, utter start over. That is what it is. I'm very thankful that Drake May wore number 10. I was able to take this Mac Jones jersey, buy a new nameplate. I don't even know if you can see it. Literally had it stitched on, dude.
Is that cheaper than a real jersey? Or
well, this is like...
I know it's a real jersey, wrong thing to say. I mean, is it cheaper to get the new stitching than a whole new jersey?
So this jersey specifically is like one of the higher... It's not the Elite, the $300 jersey on NFL.com, but it's the 179 Vapor Elite or the Vapor whatever. So it's got the patches. Everything's sewed on. It's really nice quality jersey, right? They're usually like 179. In order to rebuy that under Drake May, I'd have to pay $179. The nameplate on Amazon, customized in the exact colors. There's so many colors. I picked the exact colors, right? Was $20 shipped to my house, and then I paid $13 to have it stitched. So I paid $33 for this jersey.
Much better.
It's a win. It's an absolute win.
Yeah, that's really convenient.
Yeah, there's obviously jerseys you can get off like DH Gate and other areas. Maybe you have a local jersey seller that's selling them for $30 to $40. Maybe that's not worth upgrading, but this one here was for me and pretty cheap. So, but back to the Patriots. Very excited for Drake May. That's who I wanted at pick 3. I never wanted Jania Daniels, so I was kind of happy that Drake fell to 3. I would have been over the moon if they drafted J.J. McCarthy, but I didn't think that's who we needed. I do think we needed a heavy-armed quarterback for the cold weather, somebody that can make all the throws and just very Justin Herbert-like. Just get some guys around him and watch him just be a highlight reel, because I do believe Drake can be that. I watched him play some games in college. Specifically, there was a game against Minnesota that I had money on, and it was the last leg of the parlay, and I remember watching it, and it went to overtime, and he brought him back in that game. So, yeah, I just think that alone is very exciting. Another new quarterback, doubling down on wide receivers. The one thing that's, I don't want to call it sad, but the one thing that's discouraging is all the money that New England had. They had by far the most cap space. It's all been spent re-signing their own players, which is kind of nerve-wracking. Like, this was a 4-win team, and we're doubling down, essentially. Like, oh, we got all the guys we want here. I would like to see some aggression and go after Brandon Ayuk. I know you drafted 2 wide receivers. You probably think you don't need them. You do. You do need them. This is a difference maker. Maybe you have to pair one of those rookie receivers in the deal. Maybe you have to send Jalen Polk over. Maybe you have to send Matthew Judon over. Maybe you have to send a pick. I don't care what it is. Go out and get a player that you have enough money to spend for right now and give Drake May a true game-changing number 1 wide receiver. Go do it. I digress. I do think that this team will be a tough watch. They'll be improved from 4 wins, but it's not going to show a ton.
Yeah, we'll see how the schedule plays out, if we will agree if they're higher than 4 wins. I'm not sure. I wanted to be higher on this team because I do enjoy the Patriots doing well for your sake. I mean, not too well.
Real quick, I didn't say they were going to win more than 4 games. I said they'd be improved.
That's cool. A lot of people listening would say W's talk, but I worry about this team. I think that Jacoby Brissett being a veteran starting in front is because it looks to me like there's a little bit of worry on this offensive line. I think they need to improve that before the offense can go. I look at like a Jalen Polk or KJ Osborne, Javon Baker. I feel like a lot of these guys might need a little bit time for routes to develop down the field. They're kind of like deep guys, big play guys. And I don't know if the offensive line will allow that. Ramondre Stevenson has been quietly a very, very good running back. I just feel like people don't really pay attention enough. Defensively, Matthew Judon, Josh Uche, they've got some players on the D-line. I like their secondary, though. Jonathan Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar. I think all 4 of those guys on the back end are tremendous. I think they're going to be able to put a lot of different rush packages together because they can leave their corners and safeties out there and trust them. So I think the defense will perform. I know Bill's not calling the plays, but as you mentioned, Gerard Mayo, he's been in and around it his whole life. And if they trust him, I don't know, you'd have to assume that he's at least good on his side of the ball. I worry that this offense will be a tough watch. And the defense will keep them in close enough games that you'll want to watch, but it's just going to be kind of tough. They're going to play in some ugly, ugly games. But as it goes, doesn't matter if you're 1st or 4th in any division in the AFC, you're going to have a tough schedule. The AFC is absolutely stacked. But I can't wait to see what Drake May does. But Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, Bailey Zappi, Joe Milton. I feel like somewhere on this roster there's something.
So the last couple of years, I've said this about this team, and I will say it again this year. They will win 1 game they have no business winning, and they're going to lose the game where it's like, wow, you absolutely should have won that game because of where this team's at. But I think they're going to lose a lot of ball games. They're completely rebuilding and really trying to gain traction here. This is going to be very unlike me. Because if you remember last year, I had them at 10 or 11 wins. I don't remember.
Yeah, and I dumbed you down, and I was like, I like them more than most people, but 6, 7, maybe 8 wins. And they were just a tire fire.
Yeah. Let's get some predicting going. By the way, real quick, you touched on it. I want to double down on it. This secondary / defense is so good. Good.
They've got a top pass rusher in Judon. Uche's coming along, but those 4 in the secondary is really, really good.
Judon could be traded before the start of the season. Good chance. There's a good chance. for draft capital. But Christian Gonzalez is an absolute dog. One of the best corners in the league. Got hurt last year. Yes, just absolute dog. So kind of disappointing. The opposite thing happened I ordered a Christian Gonzalez jersey, and I shit you not, it was in my possession for like 2 weeks, and he changed the number 0.
It's tough.
Sick, bro. All right, let's hit the schedule. Week 1 at Cincinnati. I will be there in the house.
That's right. You're taking Owen to see Jamar Chase and the boys. Notice I didn't say Burrow because it is right. His guy is Jamar Chase, right?
He obviously likes Joe Burrow too, but yeah, his guy is Jamar Chase. That is his dude. He's very excited. Friend of the pod, Jeff, Jamie, they're all coming too. Jeff's dad, I think a niece. But yeah, we're gonna be rolling up 6-ish deep. It'll be a great time. We're pretty low. I've never been to Cincinnati Stadium, so this will be fun. This will be I've been in Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and now it'll be Cincinnati. So number 4 for me. Very excited. And because it's NFL kickoff weekend, it just has that buzz, baby.
Yeah, I hope you have a great time at the game, but Cincinnati's a shithole. Been there twice. There ain't no reason to go a third time. That whole city's just a tragedy. But go ahead. We got a loss week 1, I think. A W for Owen and the fam, but L for the Patriots.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The optimistic Patriot fan in me.
Already week 1.
No, hear me out. You're gonna agree with me. I'm gonna sell you on this.
All right, I'm ready.
Burrow's been atrocious week 1 for 2 straight years.
You guys played the Steelers. In one of those, he threw like 4 picks. We beat him in overtime.
Last year he played the Browns, but
it was 2 years ago when TJ tore his pec.
But he's been bad in week 1. Okay. He actually is fully healthy this year in training camp, so maybe that'll play a different role. I do think that we're very good defensively and can run the ball. It makes me wonder just how out of sync Burrow could be. I think New England keeps it close. An upset feels possible. I'll give it to the Bengals. But this could be that game where they have no business winning and they win.
Joe Burrow dyed his hair beach blonde.
Like Slim Shady and Cody Rhodes.
He's wearing dresses with no backs on them. T. Higgins is out here crying. I'm out on the Bengals, dog. They're overrated. Oh, well.
You're insane.
They're still really good at football. I don't like them.
Well, they're in your division. I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, I don't blame me either. Anyway, they're home against Seattle. I think they win.
This is a fun one. They're going to open the season or the home opener against a team they can very well beat. Both teams are going to play very similar brands of football. Honestly, they're going to want to run the ball, play a little defense. Both new coaches. Yeah, you know what? Give me New England here with the first win of the season. First of many.
Week 3, they are at the Jets. Now, I do bring up the point that the Jets play 49ers on the road, then have a 1-day shorter week and go to the Titans, which is another physical defense, and then they have a short week where they have their home opener versus the Patriots. So it is a bit of a iffy start with the Jets, but what say you? Thursday night, Jets-Patriots.
We own the Jets. Patriots win at home.
I have Patriots losing that one. They then have a back-to-back road spot, but long week, but they're going to the 49ers. They're not.
Yeah, this is a really tough game. Niners are really good. I just at this point I'm already asking, when's Drake coming in? I know we've won 2 in a row. I know people are starting to think we're a playoff team. Okay, but it's misguided. We've played 2 bad football teams. No, we've played 2 obtainably winning games. We're losing here.
Okay, then after at San Francisco, they're home against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, well, when you play San Francisco, the following week you lose. That's the stat. And we can't beat Tua. We can't beat Tua. It's a loss.
You stay at home, but C.J. Stroud and the boys come into town, the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I just think that this is too much. I would love to say that we'll be able to kind of get ahead on a younger quarterback, but
It's tough. That's a tough
it
stretch.
is. And I hate that we're losing games that at home, but I'm taking Stroud.
This next one, it says home game, but it's in London versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, where I'd like to say the Patriots kind of have a shot here, but this is the second week that the Jags will be in London. They will not do a jet lag travel. They are tucked into whatever the Jaguars have over there since they play every year. I think it's a tough spot. Whoever gets Jacksonville in that second week, we said it about the Bills last year. I just think it's a really almost an unfair advantage that the Jags get that game, but they have it. So I'm going to give it to the Jaguars.
Yeah, we're just not quite good enough and disciplined enough to make a road trip like this and beat a team that I think is pretty good.
Yeah. They come back home and then they host the New York Jets. By this point, I think Drake May is in. It's week 8. The team's losing. Might as well get him some time. I think this defense is too overwhelming for even if it's Brissett or May. I think they struggle with the Jets. I know you said they own the Jets. I think it's another settle-in factor. Belichick's gone, and we've been swept by the Jets. The world's ending, but we got to believe in the future. I think they lose again to the Jets.
I think they lose, but it's not everything you just said because I think they go 1-1 against the Jets this year.
Right, but I'm just saying the way I have it set up, they're now 1-6, and they've been swept by the Jets, and their only win is against Seattle, who's in the NFC. After the Jets, they're at the Titans. I think they could take advantage of Will Levis, but this team's got so many wide receivers. I don't know. The Titans, I like the Titans. I don't want them to lose to the Patriots, but
yeah, I think the Titans are probably better offensively, but I think New England's defense will win a couple of games this year. This feels like it could be one of them.
And I'm not necessarily saying they outplay them. I just think this is one where they throw some weird stuff at Will, and maybe Will has a multi-pick game, just has a setback. I like the Patriots here.
I can't do it. I'm going Titans.
Okay. Back-to-back road spot. They play the Chicago Bears, Week 10. I'd like to say rookie versus Bill Belichick here, but it's not Bill anymore.
Yeah, no, but I do think that, weirdly enough, New England can win this game. I'm giving New England the win in Chicago.
Yeah, we split on those two games.
What is the time on that game? 1 o'clock?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, their only primetime game is Thursday versus the Jets, and then if you count the London game at 9:30 in the morning. Week 11, they're back home versus Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams.
That's a loss.
Like the Rams as well. They're then at Miami.
That's a loss. They're going to keep racking up losses to the Miami Dolphins until they fix some stuff.
They host the Indianapolis Colts.
Man. Colts
December 1st.
Colts in New England. It's not good. I'm going history here. I'm going New England.
I like the Patriots to get the win here too. They get it going right into their bye week. After the bye week, things get a little dicey. Come out of the bye week, they travel cross country December 15th to the Arizona Cardinals.
Coming off a bye, off a win, there's a lot of momentum there. I do really like the Cardinals, but I think New England wins this one. I think they can stuff around Kyler and make it fun.
I like Drake to put on a little bit of a show. I think they come out of the bye, relax. I think this could be Drake May's coming out game that helps them look forward to the future. This will be a game they look back on. Now, the last 3 games are at Buffalo, host the Chargers, host the Bills. So, Bills, Chargers, Bills.
Yeah, I think they lose all 3. Late in the year, though, coming off those 2 wins and the bye, I would love 1 win of those 3. And I think that's something we'll talk about later in the year as it approaches. regardless of what the record is. I don't care if we've lost every game or if we've won 10. I am going to be like, I really hope we win at least one of these three because, that's a tough schedule right there. You get Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. You get probably the top in the AFC East, and then you get Jim Harbaugh and company. I mean, that's tough. I'd like to get one of those.
I got him at 4-13 again.
I got him at 5-12. 5-12. And I'm gonna assume Vegas has him at 3.5, potentially 4.5, but I'm gonna go 3.5.
How many wins did I have him?
You had him at 4.
What'd you have him?
5.
It's 4.5.
Feels right.
Their odds to win the Super Bowl are plus 25,000. They have the shortest odds. They're the safest bet to miss the playoffs at minus 2,000. And
that's because most people think they're the worst team in their division.
Right, yes. And their make the playoffs is the longest odds at plus 920. To win the division is plus 2,500. But yes, they're not necessarily saying the Patriots are the worst team, but they're in the conversation in their eyes, and they play with the Jets, Dolphins, Bills. There's no shot all three of those teams have a terrible year when you guys get how that works. I don't gotta over-explain it. And after the Patriots is the Arizona Cardinals. I gotta get to it real quick. Arizona Cardinals. Move this stuff around town. All right. You got anything else to add on your boys?
No, I mean, I'm going to watch every game like I always do. I'm excited about this season and building towards 2025. It is a weird season because it's just this is the first time in my life that I actually expect to be bad. Where the other seasons I expected to maybe make the playoffs, I'm expecting to be bad. That's tough. The good thing is, and we'll talk about this throughout the duration of these pods, I am very excited about a lot of things this season. I have a lot of rooting interest all over the league. I'm excited to go to a game with my son. Okay. I'm excited to kind of cheer on his Bengals for him. And I really like Burrow and Chase, and I hope that team kind of elevates. I'm very excited about J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings. Just pumped to kind of see what that kid can do. Very excited to cheer on Blake Corum with the Rams. And God almighty, do I hope Jim Harbaugh just continues just being a fantastic coach and elevating programs and getting the Chargers kind of where they need to be.
And the Steelers win their 7th Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm just excited for football. I'm not playing into what you just said. I'm ignoring it. But yeah, I'm excited for football, and even if my team's bad, the one thing that we're going to tap into Michigan here for a second, and I was explaining this to my son, because people that aren't sports fans just don't understand this. And I mean, you get this, I'm sure, and you're starting to really get into this mode, I'm sure, but all these coming up short seasons for the Steelers where they're right there, they're good enough to be in the playoffs, but they're not winning the games. When they get to that next Super Bowl, it's going to feel incredible for you. Watching Michigan kind of underachieve for so long, this last 3-year run was so amazing because of that. New England being at the top for my entire life, I'm excited to see them climb back up there and what it's going to look like to get there. And I'm excited to be on that ride because winning football games in this league is not freaking easy.
Yeah. No,
and just because we had the best coach and the best quarterback and we made it look easy, I'm going to be patient and understanding that it's going to be harder to get there this time. And when they do, I'm going to appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, and that's like one of the interesting things about watching so many sports. On a side note, it's like the Dallas Mavericks got to Western Conference Finals and lost. Then they got to the NBA Finals, then lost. Texas makes the playoff, then they lose. Then you watch UFC fighters that get a shot at the belt and then maybe they lose. Manchester United's been poor, but they get to a cup final, maybe they win. It's like the ups and downs of it's so fun. And I was there to see the Steelers win a Super Bowl and lose the Super Bowl, and I've watched the Killer Bees, and it's always exciting watching, man, because the banter at work with your friends, everything about
Yeah.
it. Sports are just the best, and if you're listening, I can't imagine you would disagree.
Arizona Cardinals, 4-13 last year. Half the season they were without Kyler, and then Kyler came in, and I don't have it in front of me, but they were definitely more successful with him than without him. Former number one pick and definitely adds something to this team. Last 2 years, they've served number one picks on Ohio State Buckeyes, Paris Johnson, and then Marv. What do you got on the Arizona Cardinals?
In the draft, they took son of a Hall of Fame wide receiver, Marvin Harrison. They took his son, Marvin Harrison Jr., as many people know watching the pod. Can't miss talent. We'll see what he does in the NFL. Darius Robinson, edge. Max Melton, corner. They took Trey Benson, running back. Isaiah Adams, tackle. They took a tight end from Illinois and a corner from Boston College and a safety from Texas Tech. That is all in the first 4 rounds, where you traditionally will find starters. So they kind of added players everywhere all around their team. They also add through free agency an offensive tackle, 2 defensive tackles, corner Sean Murphy Bunting from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, good corner. They add Chris Moore receiver, but they lose Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore. So they replace those with Marvin Harrison and Chris Moore. They add Desmond Ridder as a backup quarterback. Honestly, they didn't really lose much. They tried to add as much as they could through 11 draft picks in free agency. They lose Hollywood Brown, add Marvin Harrison if you think that production can fit. And yeah, they're going to have Kyler Murray healthy for a whole season. He had that knee injury, came back late. Cardinals are an interesting team because they're another team where I just don't love their roster, and they play in a really tough division, especially the way the Rams and 49ers have played. So if we were to take a look at their depth chart here, James Conner, Trey Benson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Greg Dortch, Zay Jones, Chris Mort, Zach Pascal, Trey McBride, a real up-and-coming tight end. He's on a lot of people's fantasy radars. Offensive line, we'll see what their drafted players can do. Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State played pretty well in his rookie season. They don't have much to talk about on defense. I mean, Sean Murphy Bunting, Buda Baker's always going to lead the charge. I think they have an average defense, but Kyler Murray's known to do some tremendous things when he's healthy and with the ball. So him and D-Hop did a lot. I don't know what to make of this team. I don't love them, but I don't
Did you mention their pass rusher they drafted a couple of years ago out of Tulsa?
Zaven Collins?
Yeah.
I didn't mention him. I don't know that he's all that great, but he is.
He's been a good player.
Okay.
He's been a good player for them. I mean, yeah, you say a lot of things that are correct. I just also think that they do have a pretty good quarterback, and they did just draft what we believe to be an all-world wide receiver. So they do have a great tight end. Their offensive line has had a ton of rebuild to it. I don't know. I think that this team could shock some people offensively.
In terms of the Rams and Seahawks and the way they attack through the air, Sean Murphy Bunting, they draft Max Melton, a good corner out of Rutgers, and they have Buda Baker. So they're obviously trying to fight strength to strength on the back end. But we do often forget Kyler can be a real difference maker. Sometimes he can just win games. I mean, first round pick in football and baseball. He's a tremendous athlete. You have questions about his personality, his height, weight, that's fine. But from shoulder to fingertip, he can spin it with the best of them. And he's done some crazy things. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to like throw in on this team. I just think that I'm naturally going to be higher. I don't even know what their over under is. I don't have a guess. but I'm gonna kind of guess after we go through their schedule. I have a feeling I'll have more wins than you do.
I know you will. But that's okay. That's what this pod's about. When we disagree, it's better for the public.
And so far, I was 2-15 on the Panthers. You were 2-15 or 3-14.
I was 3-14.
Okay, so you had more wins there. I was 8-9. You were what?
9-8.
So you had more wins there, but then I was 5-12, and you were 4-13.
We've been 1 win off on all these teams.
We're gonna definitely be more than 1 off, I think.
I think over under 3.5 wins off. I think.
Oh, not that many.
All right, we'll see.
Depends. Do you have them as a 2-win team?
Oh no, probably not. I have them as a 14-win team. Let's just get into it. Week 1, easy win at Buffalo, 1 o'clock, CBS. The Bills win.
Cardinals in an upset.
Thank you guys for listening to 2 Fans, 12 Rings.
Cardinals in an upset. Bills don't even know who their receivers are right now. They are revamping things. They're going to have to depend a ton on Josh Allen. This team is kind of mentally broken after losing to the Chiefs at home in the AFC title game. There's some growing pains here. There's going to be some things they need to figure out. They haven't been an early season team the last couple of years. They've been a later stretch team. Cardinals in an upset.
If you guys will just, real quick, I just like to look up the line on the Week 1 game quickly on my phone.
Bet the house.
I'm just curious what it is. I'm going
to wonder. I have a guess.
My guess is going to be Bills minus 6.5.
Mine's 3.5, maybe 4.5.
Bills minus 7.
Not a chance. Easy cover. Love that bet. Love that. That is I'm not joking you. I don't know the other lines. That's the bet of the weekend.
We can go crazy, but that's a great tease. Either way you want to look at it. Bills minus 0.5 to just win, or you can take the Cardinals all the way up to 13.5. That's a great teaser, whichever way you feel about it. But anyway, you have a win, I have a loss. Week 2 starts a 3-game home stretch for the Cardinals. They host the Rams.
Boy. Yeah, the Rams. Rams win.
I do like that too. They then host the Detroit Lions. Loss.
Cardinals win.
Holy 3.5. I knew it. They're then home against Washington.
What did I just have on this one? Oh, I had Cardinals win.
I'll give Cardinals win week 4.
3-1.
They're then at San Francisco.
Loss.
Then they're at the Green Bay Packers.
Win. Packers are way overvalued.
Okay. Then Monday night, they host the Los Angeles Chargers.
Loss.
This is not good. At the Miami Dolphins.
Loss.
Jesus Christ. They then host the Chicago Bears.
I don't know. Have you been giving them losses this whole time?
They're 1-7.
Yeah, you're insane. They're beating the Bears.
I have them beating Washington.
What is the matter with you? You don't think they can win any games?
I didn't say I don't think they could. The Bills, Rams, and Lions, I think I have all 3 of those teams winning their division. They then beat Washington. Then they're at San Francisco, at Green Bay. I think both of those teams are much better than the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals, could get a lot, maybe wins later. I think it's full panic mode because I think they lose to the Chargers as well on Monday night.
I have them 5-4.
We did at Miami as well. So we should have 8 games so far.
We have 9 games.
Did I tell you the Chicago one already?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't decided on that one yet.
I have them beating Chicago.
Secondary. I'll have them. Okay, I'll have them winning against Chicago, and then they're home again versus the New York Jets.
They're beating the Jets.
No.
Okay.
They're going into their bye week 11, 2-8 through 10 games. They come out of the bye at Seattle. I think they can win that one.
That's a loss.
Okay. Then they're at Minnesota. I like them to win that
Loss.
They then host Seattle. They'll split. So whichever way they lose it and win against Seattle. They host.
I think Seattle bounces back from last year. They fell apart late.
They host the New England Patriots.
That's a win. Wait, I gave New England the win there, didn't I?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I actually have this. Is there a bye somewhere?
Bye week was week 11 between the Jets and Seahawks.
Oh, okay. So this is not lining up. Hang on. So bye, loss. Week 15, they're playing New England.
Yep, they're hosting New England.
I have New England winning that, so that's 4 straight losses for them.
They're then at the Carolina Panthers.
Win.
Yeah. And then they're at the Los Angeles Rams.
Loss.
And then they're home against the 49ers.
Loss. Okay. So they started off really good and ended poorly for me, but.
So after berating me on what I think about the Cardinals, what was your win-loss?
They are 7-10.
Okay, I have them at 6-11.
We're one off.
Yeah, I mean, but you were. I think they're going to get fucking destroyed early in the schedule. Bills, Rams, so. Lions, 49ers, Packers.
They're beating the Bills week 1.
No, they're not, dude.
Okay, that's one of my multiple locks that I have on the season. I'm writing it down now.
That's what I'm saying. Write your favorite
2024 locks. Okay. Number 1, Cards beat Bills week 1.
Oh, shot dog.
Oh, my lock number 2, Panthers under
5.5.
5.5.
And if you wanted to do the other one with me, I have Commanders over 6.5.
That one I'm not so sold on. It's not a lock for me.
I just think that
I wouldn't bet the house.
Commanders could lose 10 games and still hit. I like
but they could lose 11 and not hit.
That's okay. Win total for the Cardinals.
I have them at 7-10. You have them at 6. We're good at this. 6.5.
It is 7.5.
Wow. Okay, so people think I'm right there with them.
Yeah,
I'm right there with what Vegas has them.
I'm a game and a half under. It's not like we're crazy at this. It's not rocket science. Now they screwed up on the Panthers. Vegas is going to shell out some money on the Panthers. But yeah, 7.5. To win the division plus 1,300. To win the Super Bowl plus 8,000. Make the playoffs plus 300. Miss minus 400.
7.5 over under. It does feel high. Just a hair. But if the Cardinals won 10 games this year, I wouldn't be shocked.
It's just crazy to me how you think they're going to be better at the beginning than the end.
Well, because they have more divisional matchups, and then different things fall into place.
Yeah.
To be honest, I probably could have gave them a random win during their 4-game losing streak. After their bye, give me your 4 games again.
Just the 4 after the bye?
Just the 4 after the bye.
At Seattle. At Minnesota. Home against Seattle. Home against the Patriots.
They probably beat New England, honestly.
I had that.
I don't think they do. But they're going to win one of those 4 probably. I didn't give them that. That boosts them to 8.
I thought I had them splitting with Seattle, I think.
I think Seattle sweeps them. But I'm pretty high on Seattle to be better than they were last year. Not necessarily winning the Super Bowl high, but those are your first 4 worst teams: Panthers, Washington, Patriots, Cards. Not bad.
Well, kind of are, but
I meant the pod, but yeah.
I know.
Well, that's episode 1 of the of our NFL preview show, I guess we can call it.
Yeah, team previews.
Team previews. There it is.
Team previews.
Episode 1. We got 7 more to go. So you may even get a back-to-back sooner or later. So we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
We're out.